first guest tonight is one of the most beloved actors in this galaxy and all of them. His new movie, based on a book by Stephen King, is called The Long Walk. It opens at theaters September 12th. Please welcome Mark Hamill.
It's good to pack the audience with relatives.
You know that I'm sure you're aware that you get a different reaction than most actors do because for a lot of people, you're like their whole childhood, like bottled up inside them.
Yeah, but it's not something that you carry with you every day, you know?
Until you walk out in front of a bunch of people.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Then I go back to the house and the wife tells me to take the trash out. So,
right.
So, it must be nice. First of all, it's great to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It must be great to have a job where you can just tell the bosses, I'm taking the summer off. Not like a working stiffs. Am I right, Guillermo?
You're right.
You know, Denzel Washington was here last night.
I saw him.
And I was talking about it, you know, it seems like you were, you know, for a lot of people, it's like you were born famous, you were born in these roles, this kind of stuff. And he was talking about being a garbage man and working at a cafeteria, serving soup to people.
Yes, yes.
And what were you doing before you became you?
I had odd jobs. I was a copy boy at Associated Press.
Really? A copy boy? Did they
in
still
the
have
old days
those?
before it was digital, you actually literally cut copy. And I had visions of the front page in my head.
Really?
Like I'd actually be a reporter. So I think, no, I was picking up people's lunches, picking up their laundry and so forth. I worked at Jack in the Box. I worked at Will Wright's ice cream store. So nothing really exciting. The crazy thing was when I came to Los Angeles right out of high school, I didn't have a car.
You have to have a car here, yeah. And there was no Uber at that time.
Oh, no.
Or
it
phones
was
to
one
call
of those
an Uber.
The very first summer I was here, I did a show, a musical that my brother's friend had written, Michael Franks, and someone in the audience whose daughter was in the show worked for Neil Diamond. So he said to me, if you're really interested, if you're serious about this, I can introduce you to people that can get you an agent. So I went around to the various office buildings. I did 2 scenes, a monologue from Your Good Man Charlie Brown as Snoopy, and I brought the daughter along to read with me a dramatic scene from The Subject Was Roses. And by the first Christmas I was here, I had an agent. But it was really frustrating for them because I had to stay in school. It was the height of the Vietnam War. If you didn't stay in school, you get drafted.
Right.
And luckily, I was a resident of California because I had no money for school. But since I was born in Oakland, LACC, $8 and a pen, and you're in.
That was it, huh?
That was it. I don't know, it's probably gone up by now, but it was, when I look back, I think, I was hitchhiking to auditions, Jimmy.
Really?
I actually, one of the earliest jobs I had was I played Laurie Partridge's boyfriend on The Partridge Family.
Wow. That was
I don't know if people remember that, but I would hitch to jobs. So it was at the Columbia Ranch. I lived near LACC. I'd be out on the freeway entrance with a sign and a flashlight saying Columbia Ranch at 5:30 in the morning. Now, sometimes I'd wind up getting a ride right away and be an hour early, so I'd hang back or go to a coffee shop. But I was able to never be late. The only embarrassing thing was when we would wrap, I'd walk about 6 blocks away from the studio just so I wouldn't be seen hitchhiking.
You didn't want your coworkers to know you were a vagrant.
I'm hitchhiking. So I'm hitchhiking, and a car pulls over, and I look in. It's David Cassidy.
Who is like the biggest Heartthrob star in the world.
Exactly, the king of Tiger Beat magazine. Now, he said, what are you doing out here? And lying instantly, I said, oh, my car broke down. And he said, well, get in. I said, well, thanks. So I got in, and he starts driving towards, town. And we got to Sunset. He said, are you going east or west? And I said, I'm going east. And so he pulled over and let me out.
He was going west?
He was going west, and I just thought that was odd. I mean, I hitched the remaining 4 or 5 miles, but years later at a charity event, I saw Sean Cassidy, his half-brother, backstage.
Another heartthrob,
And
yeah.
I told him the story, and he just smiled and he said, yeah, that's David.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned Tiger Beat, because I happen to have a Tiger Beat magazine.
Oh, no.
And I was unaware that you were being groomed to be
No, I
some
was
kind
only
of.
a Tiger Boot wannabe. Like you say, Sean and David Cassidy were the top.
This
bananas.
doesn't look like a wannabe to me. I mean, that's a whole. Brother or boyfriend? Is that how George Lucas got the idea for Luke and Leia? Brother
Never
or
know,
boyfriend?
yeah.
We really don't know.
Exactly.
Did you get letters from girls and stuff like that?
Well, a few.
Yeah. Here's this is if we could just zoom in right there. It's celebs at Paul McCartney's party: Cher Bono, Mark Hamill, Tatum O'Neal, Linda, and Heather McCartney. Which is this, you or Tatum O'Neal? Who is this right here?
I've never met Paul McCartney, so I surely would have remembered.
You're like a Beatles nut, though, so you would
I
for
do.
sure remember if you met Paul McCartney.
Yeah, well, I tell you, when I did meet a Beatle, I was on a plane, and I looked over, and across the aisle was George Harrison. And I didn't want to bother him, so I just wrote a note.
Now, when are we talking? What year is this about?
This would have been, it was right after Cracker Box Palace came out, so post All Things Must Pass. I think his first album after All Things Must Pass. And I didn't want to bother him, so I wrote a note and gave it to the stewardess, basically saying, I can't thank you enough for writing the soundtrack of my life, or whatever, just effusive praise. You're a fan. And I gave it to the stewardess and sent it over, and she comes back and she says, Mr. Harrison wants to meet you. And I was like, oh no, because I have a hard time meeting heroes. I got this lump in my throat, like if I speak, I'm gonna cry. It was really tough. So when I went over there, I managed to get out my words of praise. It's just, your music meant so much. It changed my life, and I just can't thank you enough. And he looked up, cool as a cucumber, and said, you're not so bad yourself.
It's solid.
It's so George. It's so underplayed in that liver-puddling accent and didn't, just deadpan.
Mark Hamill is here. His movie is called The Long Walk. We'll have a look at that when we come back. We're right back.
We will be #1 in the world again! Yeah! Now, I'm not going to go through the whole rule book, but it boils down to this. Walk until there's only one of you left. Maintain a speed of 3 miles per hour. If you fall below the speed, you get a warning. If you can't make speed in 10 seconds, you get an additional warning. 3 warnings, you get your ticket.
That is Mark Hamill in The Long Walk, not just based on a Stephen King book, but based on the first book Stephen King ever wrote.
The first book he ever wrote, it came out, Carrie came out first, but The Long Walk, he wrote it when he was 19 years old. This guy is just phenomenal. He's such a master of presenting a premise that is so ghastly.
Yeah, explain the premise.
Well,
it
grabs your attention. You saw that
does, yeah.
basically in that clip. But what I'm saying is, once you get past the horrific nature of the premise, you can't help but relate. Like, how would I deal with being in an ordeal like that? How would I survive, or more likely not survive? Because there's one person from each state chosen by this authoritarian government to walk until, and there's all these rules. You get 1 warning, 2 warning, the 3rd warning, you get a bullet in the head. Mm-hmm. And I had real problems with the premise to the point where I talked to the director, Francis Loris, and I said, I'm really having a hard time with this, the idea of all this gun violence, But when I read the script and talked to Francis, that's just a device to get you into the real heart and soul of the story, which is the experiences of these young guys in this ordeal. Their triumphs, their, failures, their rivalries. It's the heart and the soul of the movie is these young guys. And what a cast.
So interesting that he was one of those young guys. He was of the age that you have a whole bunch, there are like 50 young guys, teenagers, slightly older than teenagers in the. Did you like working with all those kids?
Well, here's the thing. I decided, I'll throw a brunch for the whole cast at my hotel before we start shooting. And the director said, Cooper Hoffman doesn't want to meet you.
Cooper Hoffman is one of the stars of the film.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Great actor.
Oh, my God. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I mean, I was not familiar with a lot of these young guys. I've since done my homework, but I said, he doesn't want to meet me. He said, yeah, he's afraid he might like you. And I said, I got to understand, premise-wise, I'm the antagonist. I'm the one that's putting them through all this hell. It makes total sense. So I canceled the brunch, and I said, I totally get it. I mean, if they don't want to meet me, fine. And by the way, I guarantee Cooper, when he meets me, he will like me.
Well, yeah, I mean, that could have been a problem. But I think
just saying,
the other takeaway is that he ruined brunch for everyone.
I haven't thought about it that way. But
did you ever get to when the movie was over?
Well, a lot of, there are various. There's the two main characters, David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman, and there's more supporting guys, and there's down to people that have no lines. And I'm telling you, I've seen it more than once. Even the guys that have no lines are so right on. I mean, I was just blown away by the young talent in this movie. And like I say, I didn't really know any of them when I worked with them. And, the way the story goes, they go off on this adventure. I don't really follow them. But
did Stephen King have involvement in the film itself?
Well, it's funny. When I went to the Toronto Film Festival, they said, you're going to sit right next to Stephen King. And that's how I knew I was a good actor, because I went out and I said, how do you do? Nice to meet you. When inside, I was going, oh, my God, it's Stephen!
Oh, he's one of your guys, too.
Yeah. I love that man. And when he looked up at me, he goes, the Major.
Oh, that's your character.
That's my character. And I think we hadn't filmed it yet. I said, how does he know? I didn't ask him, but afterwards I asked the people from Lionsgate, how did he know that? And he goes, after a few bad early experiences, he has casting control, director control, script control over everything. So he knew that I had been cast, and I thought that was
that's a nice compliment to get, for sure.
Yeah.
You guys had a screening where you had this is really strange, you had the audience on treadmills, and they had to walk at 3 miles or above for the whole film, else what happened? You
gotta love an audience that's committed. Because I have to tell you, the first thing I was asking about, I said, wait a minute, the long walk. How much walking do I do in this film?
Yeah, right, yeah.
None. I'm in a Jeep. I'm in a Jeep the whole time and loving it.
So, I can make a pretty sweet Jeep commercial right there.
I'm telling you, but I mean, I'm watching videos of these people on the treadmill. The treadmills are going the same speed that the guys are supposed to walk in the movie. And I thought, what dedication. And if you fail, they don't shoot you in the head, but they escort you out of the screening. So.
I've heard that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning to put treadmills in all movie theaters.
See? Yeah. Oh, my God. The line between comedy and reality is scary.
Well, it's great to have you here.
Thanks
The movie's called The Long Walk. It's in theaters on September 12th. Mark Hamill, everybody. We'll be back with Andrew Santino. Guillermo, do you know how many subscribers we have on YouTube now?
20 million.
That's right. Yeah, that's why we're wearing these glasses. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not, help us get to 20,000,001.